mean, it's a real problem that any time something comes up in the Bay, and let me go back a little bit. You talk about the economy of Rhode Island. Rhode Island is unique that it has one facility that nobody else has, and they die to get it. That's the Bay. I hear various people in the economy talking about, we're gonna go to high tech, we're gonna go to biotech, we're gonna go to financial. The state of Rhode Island has no advantage over any other state in this country in those areas, none. They do have an advantage for deep water next to the ocean, and we flatly refuse to use it, to your detriment, to your absolute detriment. I mean, if you think things are going so well, why is the state of Rhode Island some people talking about bankruptcy? The economy must be doing real well. We're talking about going under. Why? Because you haven't taken advantage of all of the things that have been out there for 30 years.
Senator, now you apparently have attracted a lot of questions.
Sure.
Senator Miller.
Yes, just briefly, you had mentioned the facility off Gloucester that regasifies.
Yep.
That there are only 2 ships that are equipped to use that.
Right.
And one of them left and never came back. Is that what you said?
Well, they've had one ship in there discharge a half a cargo. My understanding, and I'm not sure, was that they were contemplating selling the facility, and they wanted to prove to the prospective new owners that it would work. So we discharged a half a cargo and left, and where it went from there, I don't know.
Do you know what its frequency of use is currently?
0. The same thing with the one in off New Orleans. They're not being utilized. They're too expensive. And
That has nothing to do with the market for natural gas going down by 40% over the last couple of
you
years.
can hear that, and I hear it's going up by 17% in the next 2 years. I don't know. I don't know.
Now you Senator next.
Yeah, I just wanted to build on something that Senator Walaska said. And I was looking at my notes when the Attorney General was here, and just as the Senator mentioned, when he prefaced his remarks, the 3 areas that he told us that we'd have to concern ourselves with, certainly public safety, the economy, and the environment. And then he warned us to beware of jobs as a selling point. So I wrote that down, and then the other thing, looking at some of my notes from that first meeting, was when DEM mentioned that they provide some resources for security, but if this proposal went through, they'd have to triple their staff and run a small navy, as they put it. And I mentioned that to say, I guess what we all have to balance in this is the cost, because we're going to have at a later date in March, we're going to have the cities and towns come in. So we have to look at the fiscal impact of this on the cities and towns, and certainly on the state, as far as security, by the comment made by the director of DEM. So there is a fiscal impact, and as you said, the state, if we're facing bankruptcy, we certainly can't afford to take on additional costs. So I think that's some of the things that I'll be looking for, is to find out what the fiscal impact is going to be on the state.
Yeah, I can understand that. My view of that problem, if somebody is creating a problem for you financially, let them solve the problem.
Thank you. Senator Sosnowski.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Church. Very interesting. It was something you mentioned about the Taunton River. Now it has the designation of Wild and Scenic
Yes,
River.
ma'am.
Is that a federal designation, or is that a
That's
state?
federal.
That's
I
a
went to
federal.
Washington to testify against it,
Okay.
which didn't do any good.
No, it's very interesting. I'm glad you brought that forward, because I've heard about that designation on some other water bodies in Rhode Island also. But
Yeah.
thank you.
All it did was put jobs in jeopardy.
Thank you.
Mr. Church, one of the reasons we get paid the big bucks that we get paid is because what you have described is the day in the life of everybody up here.
Okay.
A lot of different folks come up with very compelling discussion and argument over a lot of different issues. And at the end of whatever period of time, we're obliged to actually make a decision. And the virtue of it is, half the people think we're jerks and half the people forget about it. That's my life, and welcome to it. But again, thank you very much. I want
Thank you.
to recognize that Senator Duvall has joined us, and thank you again for your participation. Before everybody gets up, I just want to thank everyone for their attendance. I believe we have reached the end of the testimony for today. Quick reminder, our next meeting will be March 2nd here, and that will be the city and town public safety and leaders testifying. Thank you all for being here.